That's what it looks like. It looks like because it's usually 8:30, but I put 9 because I was like, because I still have to like figure this stuff out. And there it goes. Looks like we're live. Howdy there, true believers. Welcome back to the New World Nation podcast, where we rewatch and review one Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. Leading up to Avengers Endgame, we missed a few weeks, so we're already off. But this is the first time we ever get to review a brand new Marvel Cinematic Universe movie. And I have a very special guest with me today, my mother. Go ahead and make some noise.
Hello, everyone.
The New World Mom is here. So she's obviously very excited for this movie. She asked me if she could do it. Of course she can. If it wasn't for her and my father, like I wouldn't be like making a podcast about movies. Like they obviously fed into my love of movies. I don't even know how many DVDs we had. The basement was full of them. Do you remember the highest number? Like when you guys stopped counting?
Oh, I had it on an Excel spreadsheet.
Yeah, I thought that was cool. It's like we literally had a library of of
and then it got to the point where I think we had 2 office spaces, and like we started to have multiple movies, and so it was like, okay, we need to revisit how we do all of this.
Make an inventory.
Yeah. Yeah, it was great because it's funny about that because I worked at Blockbuster and that's where I got a lot of our movies from, and it was just funny that she landed in Blockbuster.
Yeah, I don't know if you saw my video. I was just like, Blockbuster's like a red box you could walk inside.
Yeah, you had to explain actually what it was to Ty because he had no concept.
Yeah, I mean,
what it was.
Has he ever been in a video store before?
I don't think so. I don't think he has.
That's so crazy.
He had all sorts of questions for us.
Thanks, Dad. I'm glad Dad finally changed his username to Original Big Papi. I've been waiting for it this whole time, and he finally did. Looks like you have an admirer in the chat.
I can't see the chat comments. But I can only imagine. But my loving husband is chatting.
Dad also worked at the Blockbuster, right?
What?
Did Dad also work at the Blockbuster?
No, it was just me.
It was just you. So, all right. Here's a myth. Was it terrible when they didn't rewind?
Yeah, because then we'd have to listen to that horrible machine.
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's I've heard I've heard that it's not that bad. The machine does it pretty quick, but I guess it makes a terrible noise.
Was not on the same level.
I guess we'll go a little bit off the rails. I want to say something. Every time we went to like Family Video in Portage, Wisconsin, for those of you who don't know, I just want to come clean. But we have a bin of movies. Yeah, that bin's nothing compared to everything we had. I don't even know where.
Yeah, we've lost them along the way.
Yeah.
Over the years.
Okay. So, what were your expectations for Captain Marvel? What were you initially thinking?
I had a feeling that Brie Larson and Samuel Jackson would have chemistry. I didn't know how it was all going to play out because I'm not that familiar with the comics. Mm-hmm. But what I was hoping for, I think happened or was achieved because I think Brie and Samuel had a really good chemistry, really good banter between them.
For sure. I think they'd only done the one movie together. They did Skull Island together, but I don't even remember them sharing a ton of scenes together.
No, but she did direct him in a movie recently that hasn't come out yet. I think it's called Unicorn something or other. But they talked about it in the second to the last Entertainment Weekly interview that they did together. So he says he wants to be in all her movies or something like that.
I saw them singing "Shallow" on the song from A Star Was Born on some talk
Uh-huh.
show, and that was pretty cute.
Oh, I can check it out.
So saying that you don't know a ton about the comics of Captain Marvel, well, this comic book run is actually like fairly recent. I think they're getting from like a run that only started like a few years ago, so before like Civil War II and stuff like that. So probably, I think I want to say it's like 5 years old. So they're getting it from a very like very a very recent run of comics. Captain Marvel in the comics is just all over the place. Like it was Captain Marvel, and then Captain Marvel is one of the few people that actually stayed dead in comics. He died not in a battle. He died of cancer, and like he hasn't come back since. He came back once, but then it turns out he was a Skrull. So he hasn't come back, which is so rare. But yeah, I love. I thought they did a good job of. Obviously, like I haven't read a ton of Captain Marvel's solo comics, but I've only seen her in like Civil War II and stuff like that. She definitely seems like a hothead, and I think Brie Larson definitely portrayed her as a hothead. I just don't know. Like, is that the only trait like strong women can be in most like incarnation? Because when I think strong female characters, I think Legend of Korra, and maybe we'll go off on a tangent here, but she's the same way, like arrogant, hot headed, and I feel like maybe like another character like Katniss, hot headed, does what she wants. Like, is that just? I mean, it happens to male characters too, but is that just why do we
I think
keep
it
seeing
kind
this
of
trend?
has to be that way, in order to kind of get across what they want to say,
Mm-hmm.
because I think it's very different, or this is my perception, is that, you know, women are more likely to be heard with their, upset about certain things when,
Ah.
you know, the rational comes out. You're more likely to listen to a woman that's yelling at you than a monotone woman. So
That's
I think that kind of has to be brought to the table a lot of the times, because there's that intimidation factor that men have, and sadly a lot of women, very few women have it. I think one point is Amanda Waller. She kind of, and I don't know about if it is true in the comics, but I know that I was very intimidated by Viola Davis as Amanda Waller, and she did not portray herself as hot-headed. I mean, she did in a way, but she did it very elegantly.
I know, yeah, that probably just speaks to the talent of Viola Davis for sure. Um, but
Right.
yeah,
And
I
I
think
think, but I think in the same term, Brie Larson did it with, she was hot-headed, but she definitely was a lot funnier than Cora.
yeah, she definitely had some good quips, like just as amount of quips as any other like of the like main superheroes, like any of the main six or anything like that. Anyone else who's gotten like an origin movie, I think she definitely had that same kind of quippiness and was pretty funny. I mean, not everyone landed, but for me, it was like 80% landed. So that's a B. That's good.
Right.
What was I gonna say? So I think, or when I was thinking about this, I'm not big on like amnesia storylines. Like I think it's really hard to do. Not everything can be memento. So like I just think
Not really anything could be
yeah.
memento.
So I just think I was like, so is she that person again by the end? Like, oh, and by the way, this is like full spoilers for Captain Marvel. If you don't want to hear anything, or if you don't want to hear a discussion about the movie, you should probably be watching the movie first. Thank you guys if you joined anyways, but I'm just letting you know. Fair warning, spoiler alert. So well, I lost my train of thought. I just didn't want to spoil it for anybody. Oh, so I think that like the one of the best like adaptations for an origin story, at least my favorite, would be Arrow season 1 and 2. I just love how he's already Arrow, but then we kind of get flashes, flashbacks or whatever. Obviously, they overdid it in the future seasons because I don't think we need to know everything that happened in between. I think that mystery is still very intriguing. Like we didn't need to know we don't know everything that what Carol Danvers did in between or before. We just know like some of the story beats, some like the most important stuff. So I think Arrow did it the best, and I was kind of hoping this would kind of be the same. But her like not knowing it's just it was fine. Like it's just a personal preference that I don't really like amnesia storylines.
Right. I think in one of that, I was like, if she didn't know what planet she was from, how did she know what flannel was when he's like, leave your flannel?
Oh, I didn't even think
So,
about that.
I was kind of like, well, how does she know what it is? Or did she just assume because that
Yeah.
was the only thing that, she could leave without? I don't,
Yeah, I think that could be it too. That's probably how they'll explain it. I know there's so many like nitpicky stuff on the internet right now. It's just like why did Come As You Are play? That wasn't released until Black, and she would have been like on Hella already. Shut up, you fucking nerd.
I did love the soundtrack. I did love the soundtrack.
See, I
I
liked it.
got
I
very.
liked it too. And for some reason, people are like, "Oh, it's just hitting you over the head with the '90s." Like, yeah, it's the '90s. You know who also hit you over the head with '90s music? The fucking '90s. Like, how many times you turn on the radio now and hear "Thank You Next"? Like, it's just how it works. Okay, get over it. Like, I totally get why someone's like, "Oh, it's like so forced," but yeah, that's just how music is in any generation. So the maybe I think the most heavy-handed one was probably like I'm just a girl whenever she's beating up.
Yeah, that so stuck out, and it actually got me like, it got me in my yeah moment. Like yeah,
It's just-
like do some damage, girl.
yeah, yeah, yeah. There's definitely was still an element of yeah. Go ahead and get you some. So I did think the '90s aspect was still fun. I thought that she was billed as the most powerful hero that we've ever seen in the MCU. But I felt like she was probably just as strong, or maybe just a little touch stronger than Thor, because he still did take like a dying star and stuff like that. Like I just
Right, right.
that's my like scale. Maybe we'll find out more about that in Avengers Endgame. But just for right now, I don't think we got to see her final form. Her limited power moment.
Right. I
So
agree.
okay, I think before going into, I guess we can just hop right in. I did put a Tesseract timeline in this, but I guess we'll talk about that when we get to that point.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna like go ahead and hit the beats of the movie. So we start off, and just stop me whenever you have something that you need to say. So there's a dream sequence. Oh, oh, what's happening? Skrulls are attacking old lady dead. And then wake up, boom, she goes, "Hey, I'm gonna fight Jude Law because his face is too symmetrical anyways. Let's mess it up." It's like Fight Club. I just wanted to destroy something pretty. Uh, so she goes and fights
I
him.
can't argue that.
It was fun. It was good. I think they had a good banter and stuff like that. I liked her banter in that they seem like somebody who are people that have been around each other for 6 years. And then we get the Supreme Intelligence, pretty cool stuff. What do you think of like the Kree world in general? To me, it seemed kind of like generic sci-fi stuff. And that's just because like in Thor Ragnarok and like Guardians of the Galaxy, everything like seemed unique. Each planet they visited in those, and this one just kind of seemed like bleh, sci-fi.
It did seem like, actually, it seemed like more believable of a city, of a more advanced city, like one of our cities,
Okay.
maybe even um, something like Tokyo or something that's a little more technologically advanced. But I didn't think it was outrageously advanced. Or maybe something you would have seen in like a Blade Runner or something like that.
Okay.
I like that it wasn't too outrageous, but I thought it was very elegant.
Okay. I can see that. I liked the Supreme Intelligence. It was fine. I thought it was cool. Like, oh, we look like the person you most admire. Because in the comics, it's just a giant head in a jar. So that
Yeah, that was a little more personable.
yeah, for sure. And then it feeds into the amnesia mystery. So that's cool too. She gets her mission. They go to the scrolls, and so obviously there's a big twist. I don't know why my thing is still like. Oh yeah, there we go. It was like blurry for a second, but so it says. So the big Skrull twist, I think that was perfect. And going back to this scene and thinking about it, they had multiple chances to kill the Kree and they didn't. Like when the guy's dressed as, I don't remember, one of them is disguised and talks to Minerva and is just like, oh, they're not Skrulls.
Just hungry and correct.
Yeah.
They're just starving.
So he could have just killed Minerva right away, but he was trying to like just pretend to be the other dude and just get Carol Danvers and get out of there.
Yeah, he should have.
He should have killed him. I really like that, like, because there are some arguments like he was just being a bad guy, like before that, like the twist wasn't really set up, and I was just like, well, he thinks that you guys are a part of the race that like annihilated all of his people, so guess what? He is gonna be a bad guy to you guys. Like you've destroyed everything that he loved, so he is gonna tell you something snarky. He is gonna just string you up and steal your memories to try and get the light speed engine, for to save his people.
For any people that are left, yeah.
Yeah. So I was just like, no, that's fine. He can talk to them however he wants. And so going into the memory stuff, I thought it was really cool, that whole scene. I like when they do that, especially for somebody so powerful, when they like handcuff them or like, all right, you're in this situation, they become more vulnerable and stuff like that. So it's just like, what do you do now? Like, you have to be resourceful, like you have to use your training, stuff like that. What do you think of that whole escape scene?
I liked it. It was fun. It was, I think I don't know about your theater, but we got a lot of laughs in our theater.
Oh, good.
During that act. I liked it. I thought it was necessary. I thought it was cute. And I did wonder how she was gonna get back on the ship when she was kind of hanging off of it. Mm-hmm. But I did like the vulnerability, and I did think that she showed great resourcefulness.
Yeah, for sure. And I like how she just screamed back at him. That was pretty funny.
Yeah, yeah, that was hilarious. That was cute. Again, I think that's her being funny. I think she had a little more, fun with what was presented to her than, not just, I'm going to kill him.
Yeah.
Because he's in my way. And maybe that's the feminine side of the whole having a female heroine.
Yeah. One thing I accidentally skipped over was the actual, like, getting her memories and stuff like that. I liked how they did that. It wasn't just, like, them at a computer, like, going through the memories. Like, they're like,
okay. I did like, okay, go back.
Yeah,
okay,
yeah.
Go back.
Yeah.
And let me see. What does that say? Focus.
Yeah.
And I did like that part. I thought it was really interesting.
I thought of Super Troopers where he's like, enhance. Yeah. So that was a good.
I remember trying to do that during exams. Whenever I had an exam, I tried to remember the piece of paper that my notes were on.
Just enhance.
Yeah, exactly.
I do that too. I just remember the slides. That's how I get the answers back. I was like, what did the slide say? Aha! Found you, motherfucker. So.
All in there.
So I fell into the Blockbuster. I think we've given enough time to Blockbuster in this episode.
Oh no, wait! I do have one more thing to add about Blockbuster.
Okay, go for it.
I used to have a lot of fun when I worked there because we had this huge book filled with movie titles and with a mini synopsis filled of it was a directory before Google. Yeah. Right?
Yeah.
Before there was such thing called Google. And so some of the people that work there would say, ask Stacy. I want to see if she knows this. And so they would people would come and okay, I know this person is in it. So it was they had, directors, an index of directors and an index of actors and, their movies. And so it was a game to see if I could beat the book.
That's so funny. So, I didn't know that. There was... that's why I think I would love to work at a store because I feel like I know, even if it's not a movie I'm excited for, I still feel like I know, it's still in my mind Rolodex, I think.
Right.
And so for whatever reason,
there are great scenes in bad movies. So,
Yeah.
so
And
that was my favorite job ever, working at Blockbuster.
that's so funny because how they did that to you. I did the same thing to Dad whenever I would open up one of those Lindy's magazines, like for the draft or whatever.
Draft, like,
Yeah. And I'd be like, all right, who's the number 6 running back? Joseph Adai. Okay, why? Who's the number 2? Lendell White. Why is Lendell White the second one? Didn't make any sense. But he knew it.
yeah,
So I would do
because,
this.
yeah,
So
yep.
that's it's just no wonder I only know useless information. Oh, when did Wolverine make his appearance? Well, he made his first appearance in Incredible Hulk, and blah, blah, blah. Like, so that's where I get that from. The great guys.
Yep, both your parents are filled with different kinds of useless information.
We have someone in the chat. Hey, Webhead, how are you doing? Quick review. Captain Marvel was decent. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. And had issues, but I had a good time. 6.5 out of 10. Good. So to kind of deviate a little bit, I think that it was middle tier MCU for me personally. What are you thinking?
I think so too. There's a lot that I think would that I would say that they missed. And it wasn't a very long movie. They could have made it a little longer and kind of told us, kind of fix some of the puzzle pieces, but it fit and it didn't fit. Like, I did like that there were a couple of the Guardians of the Galaxy characters in there. But, you know, what made Ronan turn? You know, I felt like they left a lot of questions unanswered.
I feel that.
I did have a good time watching it.
Okay. See, I kind of feel that with the Guardians characters for sure. But the thing that what they were probably trying to avoid, I always think back to like the end of Revenge of the Sith, and they have to put everybody in their New Hope starting positions by the end. And it kind of goes by really fast, and I was just afraid they're going to be like, or maybe Ronan's like, oh, I've got to save Karath, because last time we see Karath, he's like under a bunch of stuff, like on the ship, on the lab.
Exactly.
So it's just like they could have done something like him, like seeing that he survives or whatever. Because the only one I think we actually see like survive.
The background, it taking off in some escape pod or something like that, and that would have answered that question. But
yeah, we didn't get much of anything. So we'll get to that part in more depth. So Skrulls land on the beach. You kind of see Talos isn't really one dimensional when he's like, no, you have to be somebody else. I already picked this person. And I thought that was really funny. And I like how she was very resourceful and ended up like figuring out how to contact her team. And like she wasn't like an idiot, you know. Like I understand she was from Earth and stuff like that, but she wasn't like, oh, what's this? What's that? Oh, this motorbike on 2 wheels? Like she's probably been marooned, or not marooned on another planet, but she's probably traveled, you know. She probably just kind of like feeling everything out, because not everybody.
And I'm sure that she had a whole different other level of education when she got to the Kree.
Yeah, for sure. And there's like, oh, well, there's more primitive planets like C-53 or whatever their designation was. And they're like, if you land here, you climb on a motorcycle, you make sure you're wearing a leather jacket, because that's what the cool kids do.
And don't forget your flannel.
Don't forget your flannel, because you're 100% grunge.
God, I remember those T-shirts, though. It was like yesterday.
Amazing Redhead said, the Skrulls were entertaining, but I'm waiting for Avengers Secret Invasion. Everybody, all right. This is like my soapbox. I hate the Secret Invasion. Like, I understand it's a cool concept. Like, oh, is that a Skrull? Is that a Skrull? Who's been a Skrull the whole time? I just think it like lessens certain stories, and it's just like like a writer. I think it's like lazy writing to be like, oh, what? Because in the comics it was like, oh, Civil War happened because this guy was a Skrull. They were Skrulls. They weren't actually being bad. So I kind of feel like it takes depth away. And I think they did a perfect Secret Invasion already in the MCU, which was Hydra already being in Shield. I thought that
That's
was
exactly what I thought.
yeah. I thought that was a
Exactly what I
perfect
thought.
like modern grounded Secret Invasion. So I don't think we need to see that for a while. And obviously, like these Skrulls, they were refugees and stuff like that. But this is gonna be like what 30 years in the future now, 20 years in the future. Yeah, or 25
Yeah.
years. Probably by the next like phase, probably be almost 3 decades later. So they'll have time to rebuild their civilization. There's always like a rogue. There's always like a rogue band of aliens, anyways. So it could really be anything. But me personally, I'm just not a big fan of the Secret Invasion. We get Shield showing up at the blockbuster. We get Coulson, which I thought was pretty great because I love Phil Coulson. He's the best. And then we get Nick Fury just being Agent Fury, and that was pretty cool too.
Yeah, I did. I did like it. I liked that he was still lighthearted.
Mm-hmm.
You know, that this was before he had seen how evil the world could be.
Probably.
And he was still lighthearted, and he still like pawed over a kitty, and that was pretty. Yeah, that was pretty nice.
Yeah, I think it was a good little transition. She knows a different Fury than the rest of like the Avengers know.
Exactly.
And
Exactly. And I also think that they were a lot closer because of that.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he was more guarded because, hey, they're probably going to turn,
Yeah.
you know. And honestly, I think the only one he trusts is his good eye. It's his good eye. Other than that, I think he thinks that they can all go rogue they all have that chance to go rogue.
Yeah. I just think of the story he told in Winter Soldier. It's like, Grandpa loved people, but he didn't trust them. Like, and so I feel like he's the same way. Like, he's trying to save as many people as he can, but he doesn't trust any of them.
Right.
And like he says, he's like, I take the world for as it is, not how I'd like it to be. So transitioning from the blockbuster, it was cool. I thought they were gonna beat us over the head with, oh, who's a Skrull? They're a Skrull. Like, I guess just not a big fan of that. Like, oh they were the Skrull. But I think they did a good job in the beginning, where it's just like, oh, remember that guy you like? I thought that was Coulson. Nope, it's a Skrull. That was pretty cool. And like Ben Mendo, as soon as you saw him,
Yeah,
I was like,
did like his face when he looked over. He was like, he covers his face with a jacket. Like, we gotta let people see this.
I loved Phil Coulson because he seemed like such a rookie. He's like, I'm still at the
Right.
blockbuster. I don't know.
Nobody's here.
I was like, is this hazing? It was the 90s. They could still haze, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure.
Like,
It still happens. Whatever. So we got the train chase. I thought it was good. Probably the most trailer heavy action scene that we got.
right.
So
I think so too.
it maybe took a little bit away from it. I think it'd be really cool to see her deck the grandma like out of like nowhere on the train scene. Would have been really cool to have that reveal. Because we all knew it was coming, but just have it be like,
but maybe one day.
yeah.
Yeah, I like that she didn't. I don't have time to talk to you. I'm fighting my enemy. Okay, bye.
Someone said, Skrull, that's not a cat. Stop it, Dad. Dad's being mean. So there's one part where she steals a bike and that guy says you should smile. So I don't know if you heard, but like on the internet and stuff, or on Twitter, they're all saying like, why doesn't she smile in the trailer? Why isn't she? Brie Larson looks like she's having a terrible time and la la la. And then so some people are like, really, dude? Like so, oh yeah, because in all of the superhero posters, they're all smiling. So someone edited it to where like Iron Man was smiling in his poster. Nobody else ever smiled, but it's because she was a woman. You know, they're like, oh, why isn't she smiling? And then,
Exactly. She can't have her game face on. She has to have her high heels along with her game face.
yeah,
You know.
and it's just like I love. There's a part in Batman v Superman where Wonder Woman gets hit, she smiles and jumps back into it. But Wonder Woman and Carol Danvers aren't the same character. Like, and it's not just that. It looks like Carol Danvers also loves a good fight, but like. I think they were just kind of like, here's like the gist of the movie. It was like the very first trailer, so they didn't show a bunch of stuff. And I just think it's so crazy. They didn't reshoot that scene. That was in there the whole time. And it's just like, and they asked Brie Larson about it. She's like, that's just being a woman. Like, everyone else. I was like, that's just so rude. Who does that?
Yeah.
It's just so crazy how they did it. They shot it, and then it came to fruition in real life to show how crappy regular people are. Life lesson: never trust Rotten Tomatoes. Very true. You never trust Rotten Tomatoes. Yeah,
That is true.
and there was already hate, like people reviewing it before like the movie was even out, just giving it like sort of rotten or whatever it is, like just crazy.
Yeah, I didn't like a lot of the things that they were saying, and I really loved Alita, but I did not like that they had brought that Alita challenge. That was kind of dumb. I don't know if you've heard about that.
No, what is it? I've heard about it, but I don't know what it is.
That you should go see Alita instead of Captain Marvel.
Why not both?
Why not both?
I just
Exactly.
don't know why people. It's just the same thing. Like it's like why would you have women support women? Like it should be that way. Like Gal Gadot's like, oh, like I'm so proud of you. Like she shared a picture or whatever of like like fan art of Wonder Woman and Captain Marvel together, and like she tweeted like, oh, like I'm so happy that your movie's doing well. And it's just like that's how it should be. Like when people are like, oh, Marvel sucks, DC sucks. Like, shut up. You guys are both fucking nerds. Like, it's just like when people are like, oh, Star Trek's better than Star Wars. Shut up, you fucking nerd. Like, you guys are both just nerds. It doesn't matter. Like, you guys both got beat up by the same bullies. So just chill out. Like, the bully's like, oh, which one do you like better? Oh, you like Star Trek? You're free to go, sir. Like, no, they're going to beat you up either way.
No, I did like that Wakanda said, welcome to the MCU to Captain Marvel.
Oh, that's
I thought
cool.
that was cute.
I didn't know that. Because Wonder Woman would beat Captain Marvel. I think that'd be a good debate. Ty, that'd be a very good debate. Good to see Stanley as always, but it reminds me that he's not here and my cyst went on. So I guess we didn't talk about it. The Marvel Studios logo, it was all Stanley's cameos. And Justin asked me what I thought about that, and I was like, I'm just glad that the theater went dark and it's like it went black and said thank you, Stan, because I don't want anybody to see my tears. Like I'm just glad it they compensated for me and they're like, it's okay. You get your little moment right here. And
We saw it twice in the theater, and the first time there was applause and people said thank you, Stan, and the second time it was just silence.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was touching, and it was nice that it was a nice homage to him that they did that in the beginning.
For sure. And then this might be up there with my favorite cameos. Like this one was so good. I want to say like Mallrats was my favorite cameo of his, but that's not really a cameo. That was like pretty long, you know. It was a role, you know. It was more like a special appearance more than it was like a cameo. So, and before this, like my favorite cameo of his wasn't even the MCU. It was in Spider-Man 3, where he's just like, I guess one man can make a difference. Enough said.
Yeah.
And I thought that was perfect. And I think he just needs a line like that in Endgame to like cap the whole thing, or like even if it was like him like it's the end or whatever, like everyone rides off into the sunset at the end of Avengers, and like he just like closes the comic book or whatever, and that's it. Like I know it's like super weird. Because like it's like, so the whole MCU is a comic book. No, it's just like kind of like it's over. Like that section is over. That trade back is over. Now we can go on to the next thing. So
I think my favorite Stan Lee cameo was actually in Spider-Verse, and I think that was the first time I had seen a cameo of him since he passed, and I thought it was just. And what he talked about too is it was kind of longer than his other lines and his other cameos, and it was kind of sweet, and it just reminded me, like, I don't know, it was just very touching.
Yeah,
I thought it was very sweet.
I thought so too. Like I've said on the channel before, like I didn't know I needed the Spider-Verse movie because every time I would watch Spider-Man as a kid, I never thought I couldn't be Spider-Man. Like Stan Lee said it himself, like Spider-Man can be anybody. He doesn't like have a cowl or whatever where you can see his mouth. Like anybody could be in that costume, like white, black, whatever. And then so like there was that was one of the parts in that movie where I was like, I can be Spider-Man, like because he was just like it always fits. And then I love how it still ended up being a joke. It's like, well, because there's no returns, you idiot. Like it doesn't matter. Well, it better fit. If not, you shut out a lot. So I thought that was great too because he does definitely seem like kind of a cheeky guy. At some point, especially when you get older. Why would you ever need to filter yourself? Like, fuck everybody else. So this was up there with my favorite cameos because he's literally reading the Mallrats script, and it was so great.
Know.
It was so great.
And I love the look that Brie gives him. Like, okay, you're cool.
Yeah, it's like you're all right.
Proceed.
Yeah. I love that. Webhead said, I heard it was a meta joke of him going to a film cameo in Mallrats, but I'm not 100% sure. Still cool, though. Yeah, that's what it was. Like, I love that because Kevin Smith's one of my favorite, like, person who makes movies. Like, for me personally, I know it sounds crazy, but, like, it goes, like, Stan Lee, Kevin Feige, Kevin Smith. Like he's in there, like, with that group to me because he's made so many movies I've liked. Like, so, like he had a cinematic universe before it was cool, you know? Yeah, you know, it was great. Jay and Silent Bob
made a game of Dogma.
Huh?
You guys had a game that you played, like a Dogma game you played when we lived on Loomis. It was so funny. Like one person was the Scion, and then you and Courtney made this game of like to try to get the Scion. You guys were like playing a Dogma game. It was funny.
Even remember that.
And you had the other kids in the neighborhood playing too. It was just funny.
That's funny. I don't even remember that. Gump, I saw that you were there. I'm so sorry. My tablet died. I won't be able to see the chat from here on out. Thank you, Gump, for tuning in. I hope Andy's stream was great. I would there's nothing I could do. I can't. My tablet's dead. I'm so sorry. I can't see any more of the chat. What were we talking about? I was thrown off by the Mallrat stuff. The Bar with Fury, I thought that just was like a good testament to like their dynamic and such. They're great. They're great together.
Yeah.
And then there's a few parts like they go to the Pegasus facility, and that Pegasus facility that they went to is supposed to be the same place that gets blown up in Avengers 1, because that's where like they end up testing the Tesseract and such.
Okay.
And then
I did I think a lot of things happened when they were at Pegasus. I did like I was reminded of like Beverly Hills Cop when he takes the tape and takes the fingerprint off the tape, or uses the tape to get the fingerprint off his wallet to use it to get in. I did like that, and I got the whole kind of detective buddy detective deal when he gets mad at her for not using her proton blast. You saw me messing with the tape.
I didn't want to steal your thunder, but then I'm just like, but then you did. But then you did steal his thunder. So, but I guess they didn't have a choice. Goose was great. Everybody was saying like Goose stole the show. I didn't think that. I thought it was very funny, a very good joke. But I thought there was other people who did very well in this movie too.
Yeah, your brother wants a cat now.
I'm a dog person, whatever, but I still like cats too. I don't think you have to be one or the other. And then we get Ben Mendelsohn's the bad guy. Big surprise. The surprise in this movie is that he's not the bad guy.
Right. That is more of a surprise than him actually being the bad guy. It's kind of like the whole, yeah.
I just watched Robin Hood, and he was the sheriff of Nottingham in that one. So he's bad guy Robin Hood, bad guy Rogue One, bad guy Ready Player One. What else was he the bad guy? Dark Knight Rises, bad guy. Like, he's just... Right. And I liked how he got to use his Australian accent. That was cool. He never gets to use it.
Yeah, that was cool. We skipped over, I kind of got to the Pegasus. I did like when they were in the bar and they were having that conversation, they were having that banter, and, I love the scene where Samuel Jackson says, when she asked him, say something
I know that you're not a Skrull.
Right. And I loved it when he's like, I can't eat a toast cut diagonally. It was so funny. I can't eat it. If toast is cut diagonally, I can't eat it.
That was so funny. And
it just that reminded me of it reminded me of Pulp Fiction, and he's like, I just don't dig on swine,
Yeah, he's like, because pig's a filthy animal. It's like, would you consider a dog a filthy animal? He's like, I don't eat a fucking dog either. That was great.
Loved it.
What was I gonna say? Yeah, I thought they had great banter. I literally cut my toast into triangles this morning because of it. So they got the Quinjet and they bounced out of there, and the cat was a stowaway. That was cool. I feel like I can hear myself. My thing just opened up out of nowhere. All right, there you go. Now it's dead. I don't know why. It just opened up on my laptop for no reason. They're listening. So I thought they had good banter and stuff like that. And so they go to Miss Rambeau's house, and that seemed fine. The kid wasn't annoying. With kid actors, usually get an annoying one, but this one was fine. I didn't really buy like the friendship at first, but I guess that was kind of the point because she's like a different person now. But then it ended up turning around for me personally. Yeah, I think she did a fine job. It's just the problem I felt like with the amnesia storyline, it's like, so is she that person now? Did she remember everything? And so did she just like, I'm just gonna do whatever Carol Danvers was doing? Like, I just kind of don't get which one she is, unless she did just remember everything.
I don't think she remembered everything. I think she remembered how she felt about her. And, the other thing I want to say in that is that they had that tender moment in the kitchen, when it was just them two, her and Maria. Mm-hmm. And I like that it was a very tender moment. And, there were a lot of emotions, but they didn't cry. Mm-hmm. And I really liked that, I don't know if that was done so they could show that they are strong women. But I really liked that scene with them too. It was very heavy, but it was like they still kept everything in check. You know what I mean?
Yeah, when I heard heavy, I just thought of Back to the Future.
You what?
I just thought of Back to the Future. Whoa, Doc, this is heavy. Sorry. So, and then after that, they get their scene, and then the Skrulls show up. And I love this so much. I think that this is what made it like upper middle tier or whatever for origin stories. I think like if this movie was in phase 1, like it'd be right behind Iron Man. Yeah, maybe I don't know. I like the characters from First Avenger a lot, like Agent Carter for what she did in other movies, and like Howard Stark what he's done in that show too. But I think this is the face turn, if you will, for the Skrulls. I think was really good because it's like in the comics, it's not just so like there are good Skrulls. It's not always like the Kree are the good guys, and not just that. Like we should have all seen this coming because everybody on their side had been villains in other movies, and not just that. Like Jan Rog is Captain Marvel's like nemesis, but so like they definitely left some hints. So that was I really liked that twist. I thought it was great because it's just like we just expect like all the aliens are bad and these ones kind of look like us, so they must be good. And they definitely look like Skrulls look a little more scary, but then I liked all of their banter. I thought Mendelsohn can be a good guy. He did good stuff, and they had like good banter like on the they had good banter on the way to go to the lab and stuff like that. Why would I turn into a filing cabinet? I loved
I
him.
just like how Goose scared the crap out of him.
Yes, I love. He's like, that's not a cat. That's a flurgan. And I told Gabby, I was like, that's not that's not no regular cat. And I was just like that. I was like, the cat's a Skrull, but it wasn't. It was gonna be something because she has a cat in the comics too, but that one's name is Chewie after Chewbacca.
Chewy. Yeah.
But this one makes a lot of sense too because Top Gun.
Right. Of course.
And so I love like the Skrull face turn. I thought it was great, and I like the Kree heel turn was good. They did the double turn, the fabled double turn, and it worked. I thought it was great because I want to root for the Skrulls. I don't want to root for handsome Jude Law. He's got everything going for him. I don't want to root for that guy. Your face is too symmetrical. I don't trust you. That's how that works. And so something I would like to happen in more movies. I'm going to go off a little bit of a tangent here. So in Predator, I don't know if anybody's seen the new one. Spoiler alert for that. There's a...
I finally saw the new one. Yeah.
I was like, either way, you don't need to see it. It's not that good. But so like a predator comes in and tries to give a weapon to the humans or whatever to fight the new predators, and turns out it's just like a mech suit that makes him look like a predator. That's lame. What I wanted it to be was the two survivors from that movie, The Predators, with Adrian Brody and stuff like that. So that changes the whole dynamic. It's not just like, hey, I'm going to help the humans. It was a rescue mission. And it gives it more depth, I feel like. And there was another thing I would want, and it was way more outlandish, way more tinfoil hat and fan theory-ish. And in The Last Jedi, I thought a cool way to flip it on its head it would be in the very beginning, because The Force Awakens ends with Rey holding out the lightsaber to Luke, and I would have loved it to be like Rey's holding out the lightsaber, that's where we start off, and then Luke's about to say something, and then somebody in the distance says, Master Skywalker, is it okay to come out now? And then like he's training a new like generation of Jedi. Like he never stopped. He came to this place because it's a Force nexus, and and it's a way to hide from Snoke, a way to hide from Kylo Ren. Like he didn't give up. He's not just letting all these people die. He's not sad and just cutting himself off from the Force. Like he's still working to bring balance to the Force, finish what Anakin was supposed to do. And I thought that would have been a really cool way to kind of like do that. And I love how they did it in this movie. It's like, oh, I'm not just going to get a light speed engine. I'm going to save my family. I'm going like I have stakes in this. Like anybody can be a mustache twirly villain and be like, yeah, I'm gonna get the Tesseract and take over the world. You can't stop me now, Captain Marvel. But I thought it was so much cooler and so much better that he was with his
and so much more personal.
Yeah, for sure.
That makes it so much more personal. Because how many people find value in the Tesseract, but only that person would find value in their family.
For sure.
So I think that made that struggle a lot more personal.
Yeah. and there's a great line he said after like he got reunited with his family. Like everyone's like, "Oh, don't mess with Captain Marvel. She's a Kree." And then he was just like, "My hand." It's like she's with me, and he's like, "I'm so." She's like, "I'm so sorry." He's like, "My hands are filthy from this war too." Like
Yes.
it's just how it is. Like, and I love how. I guess something we haven't touched on yet that we need to is how they gender swapped Captain Marvel's story. They used uh, Captain or Carol Danvers' original origin, kind of. What it was Captain Marvel, the guy. He's there. There's an explosion, and he was like dating Carol Danvers, who and she was like near the blast, so she gained powers, and she became Miss Marvel, and then eventually she would be turned into Captain Marvel, and Miss Marvel would be taken over by Kamala Khan, the first Pakistani superhero in Marvel Comics, which is she's also really cool. I'm just trying to get my phone's blurry. Just come back over here. Don't come over here. I don't know. I'll figure it out. But so I like how they did that. There's an explosion, gave her powers, but I like how her powers come from the Tesseract also, because that means she's going to play probably a big role in Avengers Endgame, because in Infinity War we found out the only thing that can destroy an Infinity Stone is something that came from the Infinity Stone. So we'll see how that goes, because you have to find a way to keep this universe going. You can't, because you could just be like, well, they just grabbed the Infinity Gauntlet and just win all the time. The Infinity Stones have to go away in some form, so I think she and Scarlet Witch can figure out how to do that.
Right. You just gotta grab the green one first.
Just grab the green, exactly. Grab the green one first, and it's all good from there. And people, I just never understood that. Like, shouldn't you be all good with the time stone? Whatever. It's like, oh, the payment comes due. So here's just a little Tesseract timeline for you. Odin had it, or sorry, universe exploded into existence and they became 6 concentrated ingots. Odin somehow got it, left it in Norway. In Norway, the Red Skull got it, and Captain America, the first Avenger, Red Skull had it, and then he got beamed into space. It fell into the water with Captain America. Howard Stark found the Tesseract, didn't find Captain America. Howard Stark started Pegasus, ended up giving it to Marvel. And then they found it in her laboratory. Goose swallowed it, spit it up. And then Samuel L. Jackson got it. I mean, Nick Fury, that's what I said the whole time. He gave it to Eric Selvig in the post-credit scene of Thor. Avengers 1 happens. They take it back to Asgard. And then Thor Ragnarok, Loki takes it back. And then Thanos squishes it, puts the Space Stone in the gauntlet.
Okay. That answered a lot of questions for me.
And then Thanos is...
I wasn't sure.
And now Thanos is farming. Apparently, it's on Titan 2. He made like a whole other planet that resembled his old planet. I think it'd be a lot cooler if it was Gamora's planet. Like, he said it's a paradise now.
Yeah.
Like, it would be like I'm like just farming.